we live in the year 2014. It is the last big match of the year, the HOT6 Cup, very prestigious Korean tournament, Korean individual league. And in this world that we live in right now, it's a Hero versus Marine King winners match in Group A.
Yeah, no one would have expected this to happen, especially at the end of this year. Marine King's like, you know what? I haven't really been around this year, but now it's time to show what I got. I'm in a new team, and I've cleaned up my act. I'm away from the lull. It's time to win some games.
He's in the zone, man. Qualifier bracket, you know, wasn't the hardest we've seen, but he did beat Maru 2-0. That's very notable. I think that's the most notable part.
Yeah.
And now beating Stats 2-0. You know, the first game, you could chalk it up to Stats played a weird strat. Marine King reacted accordingly, but game number 2, Marine King was in control the whole time.
That was a straight-up game. And I mean, when you think about it, in the last couple of weeks, Marine King has beaten Bio, he's beaten Stats, and he's beaten Maru. He's done the trifecta.
Yeah.
He's ready for anyone, I think.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. This is scary, dude. If I were Hero, the person I'd be worrying about the least in this group would be Marine King, but now I'd be like, God, I just watch those games.
Like, huh?
I'm a Protoss too. Oh no!
I mean, even with the 70% record against Terran, like, I'd be pretty nervous because this is like a new style. This is like Marine King style.
Yeah, super fast upgrades. Yeah,
he's showing a new way to play.
Yeah.
Like, not completely new, but it's like his like little style, like, and he's very confident with his Marines and Marauders. He will find a way in if he can, and he will take down Colossi with...
So we're going to have a bit of a, just a little chat with you guys because Hero needs his computer to be switched.
Yeah, I lost track of what I was going to say. I was like, he sniped his Colossi.
Right.
And I mean, like, yeah, this is a guy that's had so much experience in StarCraft 2. He's known for his Marine and Marauder micro. So, I mean, he's got to be a little nervous coming into this.
Yeah, I would be. No matter how confident I am going into a group, if I've got somebody like Marine King just tearing through Stats, I'd be thinking, well, this is a bit weird.
And like, Stats just beat Hero in a WECG qualifier.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of scary.
Yes, it is indeed. Marine King's been known to change the metagame. You know, if you haven't seen Marine King versus Kyrix, don't search that. Search Boxer versus Kyrix, actually, because he used the name of his childhood hero, actually, Slayer's Boxer, as his ID in that tournament.
That's true.
He was known as Foxer by English commentators, Tasis and Artosis, because he was fake Boxer.
He was fake.
And then, of course, going forward, you know, we've seen him do all sorts of hybrid mech bio, you know, sort of techniques in the seasons after. We've seen him go for weird bio pushes versus Roro, for example. Yeah. We've seen him when everyone was going Hellbats, he did a different timing attack where he just rushed Stim and did like a really fast 3-barracks attack in TVZ. You know, he breaks the rules of everything you'd expect to be the norm.
He's always got his own flavor.
Yeah.
He's always got his own ideas about the game and what he wants, and he loves bio, so he'll try and make bio work as best as possible. I'm very excited to see him against Zerga, actually, because he does have a very interesting bio style as well. Yeah.
You know, we've seen him have great success in the past with these sorts of just weird, wonky strategies. But we've also seen him in the past have complete and utter failure. His TBTs he played in Pro League, for example, come to mind.
They were a bit of a nightmare, actually.
Weird rushed Vikings that didn't accomplish anything for him.
Yeah, that were bad times for Marine King. I think that was like a bit of a transitional period for him.
Sure.
Like, he wasn't on the new team then. He was kind of like, he was finding his way, and I think he might have found his way now. We'll have to wait and see how he's going to do against Hero, and then thereafter, if he has to play a loser's match after this. But we're getting a taste of him now, and I like the flavor.
I like the flavor. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see if it you know, finishes out into a beautiful.
Let's see what the aftertaste is before we get carried away.
Right. Right.
All right.
We saw a sign in the background. I just happened to see on my monitor for just a second. It said Kong versus Kong. And I guess that's referring to Heroes of Kong because he did not actually win the IEM Grand Finals.
I guess that's I think Sue is more of a Kong.
I think that would absolutely be accurate.
And like if those guys played each other in the Grand Final, like the universe destroys itself or something, right? Because that just shouldn't happen. Like,
yeah, I think if that happens, they both just get second place and they split the prize money.
Yeah, that could happen. that would be the only rightful answer to this because...
Like, it goes to 3-3 and the Game 7 is just not played.
Like, suddenly the computers just stop working and, like, the lights go out and, like, sorry, this cannot happen. Like,
somebody divided by 0. Oops.
Yeah.
A bunch of 0s and 1s appear on you guys' screens, and we just...
Well, it's a long way until then. I mean, we have to see him against Hero for starters.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe if he actually has to end up playing Stats again, maybe Stats will know what's up. he'll watch those replays. He'll be like, okay, this is what I lost to, and it was kind of weird. And it was kind of my mistakes, especially that second game, losing those Colossi.
Game 2 is very greedy in a lot of ways. He took a fast third CC. He took the fast upgrades. He had very few units. He had turrets.
Yeah.
And then also after that, he took a fast third. He was able to hold on to that. Stats didn't really pressure it too directly. Then he took that fourth to planetary. Stats could have easily denied it, but he wasn't confident enough. He wasn't comfortable enough to deny that fourth base. I think that's a lot of what the game comes down to. Once a planetary was done, and once Marine King got into that high ground, he wasn't as concerned about the Zealot run buys. He was just like, all right, I hold this fourth.
Yeah.
I'm good. I got the better upgrades.
Yeah.
I got a ton of Vikings. He had a really good position with his Vikings. And you said it. I mean, right before it happened, you were like, if he gets planetary up there, it's going to be starting to attack.
It's like such a powerful staging point. Even, in just about every matchup, if a Terran gets a planetary in the mid of just about any map, like you have such a great staging ground for pushes, for defensive. I mean, yeah, it was just a very important sort of gambling, taking it like he did, but it paid off.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I mean, we'll have to see, you know, as we go into this match, if Hero can sort of look at what happened there and see if he could just get a little bit more scouting information, maybe be a little bit more aggressive if Marine King is doing the ultimate greed, which he is known for.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest advantage for Hero is he got to sit there and watch it. He's like, oh, okay, this is what you're doing. This is your builds. This is how stats lost. This is how I will not lose. And I feel like, yeah, Hero's coming in as a bit more of an advantage.
Yeah,
but then again, to saying that, Marine King got to see exactly how Hero was playing as well in the same matchup against Innovation.
And that's what's beautiful about this group, actually, when you have it line up like
this.
It's
actually perfect the way it's like both players are getting like information they need, and like they get like it comes to a head now where they actually get to find out who's going to counter who, which style is going to be figured out first. Is it going to be Heroes or is it going to be Marine Kings?
Right.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I didn't think I'd have this much fun with TVP, man, but it's a great matchup with some great players.
It certainly is. But if we have a bit more downtime, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you about your impressions about Zerg's Legacy of the Void reveal. For those fans out there who maybe haven't gotten to hear your opinion yet.
I think it's going to be an amazing game. It's going to be completely different with 12 workers starting and 1,000 minerals in each patch. I mean, these things just change everything.
Right.
It's going to be a completely new game.
Well, to ask you, like, I guess, like a bit more pointed of a question, what do you think about the Lurker? Because it seems to be a bit weak. Most people are saying they're not sure how they feel about it yet.
Well, the good thing is that instead of being like the old Lurker from Brood War, it has a lot more range, so it's actually considered like a siege unit this time. It can actually, once you've upgraded the range, it's like, yeah, it's long enough so Marauders will have to get well in range if they want to kill them. And so I think it's going to be a very interesting unit to have.
I don't know. I'm going to ask you like a really more specific question. I'm not sure if you actually know. Is Lurker considered an armored unit or a light unit? I think it's an armored unit, right?
I would have to say it's an armored unit, but I don't know for certain because I didn't look at the armor when I was playing the game.
Sure.
Yeah, I was simply just going crazy with swarm hosts that don't have to burrow to hatch flying locusts and whatnot.
Yeah, that seems really fun.
One interesting thing for all you Protoss out there is flying locusts do beat mass Colossus. It's just something because they will land and surround your Colossi, which is absolutely insane, and I am so excited.
Yeah, they kind of dive bomb.
They dive bomb, and they automatic surround. So it's like they'll dive, surround. Like, same with the Nexus. You'll kill a Nexus, 100% chance, because it'll dive the Nexus and surround
It's kind of like if you had like a ton of Broodlords and they like attacked a Colossus. The Broodlords kind of just like jumping on top of it.
Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see if that changes. I mean, it is, what, like the alpha or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's still not technically beta until the beta's out for us, right?
But it's such a promising game. I'm very excited for these changes. I mean, it'll spice everything up again.
I'm really excited for most specifically the economy changes as well. I like the change to how the minerals work, how you have to expand faster, your resources deplete, but also that we kind of get to skip as spectators as well as players this early game. And I think it's also very underrated, but I think this is very appealing to newer players as well. Because if you're a newer player to RTS, the startup point while you're thinking about what you're going to do in your builds and stuff is kind of a bit overwhelming. And every single game you start, you're like, oh god, now I start over at 5 workers, and you have to build this back up. And it's something you're not used to if you've never played an RTS before. It can be a bit daunting, but you know, if you're starting already where you right away jump into building your first, your pylon, your overlord, you're getting out your gateway, you're just ready, then I feel like that gives, this feeling of like, okay, I'm jumping right into the next game, I'm jumping right into the next game every time.
It's a much more fast-paced game. Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah, 12 workers, 1,000 minerals per patch. Everything flows a lot faster. So it might even be more intense, might even be harder than what it is now. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm really curious how it's going to affect certain all-ins as well. With our map pool, I don't think we'll see any weird worker rushes with fast units, but
that'd be funny.
It would be crazy. I don't think we'll see that. But
no, I don't think so. But you know what? It's still very early days with Legacy of the Void. So
how do you feel about the Cyclone?
Cyclone was interesting, very interesting. I'm kind of fearful of it actually. what it is at the moment, because it does go invulnerable and can go into your army and blow everything up quite viciously.
Oh, are you talking about the
sorry.
Disruptor?
Oh, no, I'm thinking about Disruptor, sorry. It's a Cyclone. Aha! Yeah, the one that won all the games.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I was asking. I'm like, I'm trying to get you tricked to say like, to say terrible things as a player. Like, wow,
no,
it's gotta be removed.
Well, I actually didn't get to play against the Cyclone. I was playing against Rotterdam actually in his Protoss, so my chance to do it at BlizzCon, and I only got to play against Protoss, but the Cyclone does look pretty insanely strong right now, as we have on our screen.
His 2 players are just waiting outside the booth while the computer is changed, it looks like.
Yeah, talking strats and whatnot.
Oh, here we are looking at the screen.
Oh, we got busted, man.
So we still need a little bit more time. So this is cool. We get to have our little mini
Well, we can keep talking
legacy.
about HOTS if you like, man.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I really liked the Cyclone. I like the idea of this unit. I think it might be a bit strong right now.
Just a little bit.
But I think that this type of unit, like if maybe they reduce the lock-on range, it could be really a fun unit to micro. Reminds me of the Phoenix a lot. It's very, if you can micro it well, you can get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I really think the Roach, the Ravager, the Roach upgrade, is possibly the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it's going to work in actual competitive play, but
they're like adding like skill shots to the game, sort of in a way. Like it's kind of like you can't lock on; you have to like plan it on the ground, and hopefully they run into it or not. So it can be a lot of fun. One thing I didn't get to try was like fungal plus that, plus Ravagers, because that would just be insanely imba in my opinion. That'd be just sick.
Yeah.
But maybe not too imba, but
it's kind of maybe like a light buff to the Infestor, because we haven't seen too much Infestor use in competitive play these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would also venture to say the Carrier is going to be really strong in this upcoming expansion.
It definitely seems pretty strong.
The Invulnerable Interceptors could be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, that could actually change everything. It'd be good to see more carriers, to be honest, because it was like one of the biggest things in Brood War. Like carriers would be the late game. It would be what you want, the Golden Armada of carriers destroying Terran and whatnot.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that back again.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much damage you could get early on with the Carrier. Say like off 2 base or maybe even just an early third. You rush out that fleet beacon.
That'd be fun.
And because the game flows so much faster, it'd be definitely a different way of getting to that Carrier now, because you start with so many workers.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how that one's going to play out. Thinking about other units, the Herc seems really cool.
It is cool.
It can one-shot a Baneling. Which is kind of funny, right? Like it one shots a Baneling, it just goes in there, dives in, and takes it out.
Yeah, it's going to create a lot of problems for Zerg, I think. If we're going to go for like the standard sort of like Ling Bane sort of compositions, and then like these things are just jumping in and like trying to blow everything up, like it will cause a lot more micro problems. But I think it'll definitely evolve from there, and we'll see like more lurker usage against Bio, and things will change quite drastically, I think.
We not talked about a big change that we not talked about. I feel like we've almost covered it. Is there anything that any unit?
The battle cruiser.
Oh, right, the battle cruiser teleport.
That's pretty sick. We'll have to wait and see if people can actually use it effectively. Because I mean, we rarely see battle cruisers in this like mass battle cruisers as it is.
I actually think it's really going to affect only TVT initially, because imagine if you got tank lines and like kind of a stale game, and suddenly somebody gets BCs, and how it is now with BCs is kind of kite the Vikings and move around. But if you could teleport like BCs all over the map, then things could get.
It's going to depend if it's going to cost energy, which it does at the moment, or it will not. Because if it costs energy, then you don't have Yamato, which is even more important than warping anywhere on the map, because you want to blow things up before a fight. So it's another thing to consider.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Yeah.
It's definitely a cool mobility thing. Not sure if it's going to make battlecruisers viable, because the bigger issue with battlecruisers usually is that they can't fight in an army in late game, and they take up too much supply, and they're too slow, and it's hard to actually go up to that sort of tech.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more encouraging, and
it is.
I think that maybe we'll see some battlecruisers, especially in the beta. Everybody's going to try weird stuff. We're going to see some funny builds.
Oh, we'll see it all. Yeah, figured out a lot more in the beta, but it's going to be very different. I feel like. I definitely am pretty excited for it, actually. I'm not saying that this game is stale or anything, but it's just going to be so different.
Well, this is about to be your big refreshment.
It's a huge refreshment. It's a different game,
It's a different game, yeah. It's a much larger leap than from, Wings to Heart of the Swarm.
Completely different game, yeah.
Do you think that the Disruptor, the unit that, of course, self-destructs and goes invulnerable, You could drop mineral lines and whatnot. Do you think that in late game this could pose a threat to, say, a maxed out Zerg army where you just drop out of 2 Warp Prisms, say, like flank the army and drop 2 Disruptors in, and the Zerg has to like split back while the Colossi are shooting? Do you think this could pose a problem?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to create a lot of disruption, man, because that's what it's made for.
Is that so?
But seriously, like, I just feel like if I see one of them in the army, I'm like, oh crap, I have to run until this thing has finished its explosion.
Right.
Because like, unless you can, the only thing I didn't try, which could be a great idea, is fungling it. If it gets fungled and stopped in its place, even when it's invulnerable, there's your counter. See, I'm thinking of things already, guys, and I played it like once. No, I put it maybe like 5 games.
I'm really jealous of you, but I
I'm
know
sorry,
I'm going to
man.
get into that beta right away, and we
No,
can play
man.
against each other.
Yeah, no. I was so lucky to go to BlizzCon for that.
Well, I just imagine this world where, say, a player who's already good at using War Prism speed with High Templar and just flanking a Terran army and dropping those out and dropping those storms. And imagine a world in which you've got 2 War Prisms full of 2 Disruptors coming in from 2 sides, while you just 1A, say, your Colossi Stalker ball, and then you just have these Disruptors coming from the side. The Terran army's trying to split back and micro while the Colossi are just still doing their damage the whole time. It seems like a nightmare.
It does seem like a nightmare. Like, how do you fight against that?
It's definitely a lot of micro potential, even with the new Immortal, but finally, guys, it is time.
That was a great talk about Heart of the Swarm. Sorry, Legacy of the Void.
I enjoyed it. All right, Hero, first player to enter the winner's match.
Looking very, very strong in his PvT.
Yeah, same matchup that he's going to play now.
Yeah.
But I have to say the same of Marine King's TVP.
We just don't know what's going to happen. These players are both playing so well, so on top of their matchups.
I would still favor Hero here, but Marine King really surprised me in that last game. I don't want to favor anyone against him. I just want to wait and see at this point.
I just want to see it, Wolf. It looks like Hero is getting ready, logging in, preparing. Shouldn't be too long now. And there's Marine King. He's been waiting a while now.
Yeah, you can see, you can tell by the way his body's moving that he's tapping that foot, man. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's got a ton of energy right now. All right, players are in the lobby finally. Whatever issue that was on Hero's computer is now resolved. Marine King, a new look today, a new team.
A new team, a new man, new styles. Looking strong, looking on point.
The last time this guy appeared in a GSL, in a GOMTV match was actually in Code where he lost to 0. I believe in the first round,
And we don't even know who 0 is anymore, Wolf.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's StarTail 0 or another 0. I can't even remember, but it's been a long time.
It has been a very long time.
Just looking into Hero's computer just one last time to make sure everything is set correctly.
Still figuring things out here.
Taking a deeper look. That's the Golem Wizard at work, by the way. For those of you guys who remember that guy, he's still around, still fixing problems.
I remember him 4 years ago, Wolf.
Yep.
He was there when I was here, getting ready for Code A.
I just remember the first time I had a problem and he came up and fixed it instantly. I knew he was the Golem Wizard, and he's always here.
Yeah.
He's helped me actually personally with like a lot of technical peer issues I've had throughout my life in Korea. He's a very nice guy, very handy.
I actually remember him at the GOM house. He stopped by and like set up computers or something.
Yeah.
Way back then. Man, those are the memories. Things I completely forgot about.
One time, I was doing a ton of stuff on my computer all at once, streaming and doing a bunch of things, and he just came and touched the computer box, and suddenly all my games and my stream ran at 60 FPS. It was crazy. So Hero's got some sort of login problem, potentially due to like some sort of IP issue, or he keeps logging in and out or something because he's testing a lot of stuff. The PC's been changed 3 times.
Wow.
So we may end up having to go to a commercial break should this continue, but hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Hoping we get this sorted out pretty quickly. It's such a weird problem to have as well. Maybe he's like banned because he was playing overseas with his account or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope he's not banned.
That's like, that could happen.
Usually things like this don't happen because we've got, a bunch of different settings up, tournament-wise. Like,
well, I guess it'd be a GSL account, right?
Right.
So
they've got tons of those, so they should easily be able to get him onto another account, but he probably has one official account designated to his name, and so...
Yeah.
Oh,
that's very strange.
Hopefully this doesn't cause any issues. Like, it's a bit strange they use 3 computers for a login issue. That is weird. But
it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Maybe there's some sort of other issue going on. Maybe the GOM Wizard hasn't actually, like, you know, maybe when he told the producer, like, what was going on, like, you know, they saw only, like, ones and zeros, so they weren't really able to transmit, like, what the problem is, because...
Yeah.
You know, do you ever play Super Mario Brothers where, like, the Magic Koopas, like, go like this, and then, like, a circle and a star and, like, a square attacks? You know what I'm talking about? The wizards that shoot the little circles and stars in a square.
Sorry, man. I've never played Mario.
Magic Koopas. I was going to say that the GOM Wizard probably, when he does it, like, a bunch of, like, data just appears and shoots at you. But
oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. Well, I thought of another subject we can talk about.
Sure. I would love to talk to you about anything.
Dream Pool. What do you think about the Dream Pool, Wolf?
Okay, so... From a nostalgia perspective, I really enjoy it. Would have absolutely loved it. Would have been so happy with it. Would have like done like backflips if it was on the unranked ladder. But on the ranked ladder, I find that even though I really love the pool and it's really cool and everyone voted and I like that a lot, I think it's hard for pros to practice right now on the ladder.
Yeah, well, I feel bad for these guys because they've had to if their form of practice, which a lot of these people are, even Casper players like to ladder a lot.
Yeah, sure, everyone ladders.
So like they kind of can't ladder unless they want to play on these maps, which are old, sort of outdated maps, kind of like being completely figured out. There's styles for these specific maps in specific ways. So yeah, I feel sorry for these guys, and I feel sorry for Zergs, to be honest.
Yeah.
Being a Zerg myself, I've experienced it in the last week.
Well, we've got Zelnog in the pool first of all. We don't know how that goes.
Zelnager, I mean like. Akalon, or Hana, like all these maps, they have their sort of like all-in styles, specifically against Protoss. Great Immortal all-in maps.
I am very sad, however, that Steps of War did not make it into the pool.
I'm not. I think Blizzard thought about this and like, you know what, Steps of War is just going too far.
It is fun to see.
But I guess it didn't get voted in either, right? Because they could have actually made it in.
You know what map I do like in the pool right now, and I would love to see it mess around again with competitive play, although it is a bit hard for Protoss versus Zerg with the wall, is Metalopolis, because it's cross spawns only.
Yeah, that was a good map.
And cross spawns only, it's a really interesting map. The third base is pretty cool. The gold is still an interesting dynamic.
I like that map a lot.
I would like to see. I would like to see that, you know, perhaps tested a little bit more. Obviously, we're doing that right now, kind of in a sense. I don't think it's ever going to return to competitive play, just simply because it's so dated.
Yeah.
But that's the one map I'm enjoying watching games on. Of course, Ohana, which by the way means family, is really quite a good map to watch old games on as well. I get a lot of nostalgia on those three maps. Ohana, Zelnaga, and Metalopolis. I've been enjoying just watching. You know, for example, I watch State stream a lot. I watch a lot of pro gamers streaming it, and
it's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
I play it. I'm like, this map again. I like this map a lot, but then I get Cannon Rushed or something, or Blink Stalker or something, like, and I'm like, oh yeah. That's why it's not in the pool these days. It's like a 2-year-old map or something. I would have loved to see like Coolest Ravine.
My favorite moment I've had on that would have been great too. The favorite moment I had while playing on the ladder on the Dream Pool was when I was playing at PvP and I saw a probe come on a base early. And I panicked because I realized I was like, it's the 3-pylon cannon rush on Zelnaga. And I was able to stop it, and I was like, I remember this feeling, because it used to be like 1 out of 3 PvPs I play on the ladder on this map back in the day. Like, it's going to be the 3-pylon cannon, and you have to stop it right then or you just lose the game.
Yeah.
Just getting that old feeling back from like 2010, 2011.
Yeah, there's a lot of them for sure. Like,
the feels.
There's a lot of feels, man. Oh, it's a great sort of to go back and see these maps again and play on them kind of competitively on the ladder. It's a lot of fun.
I also find myself trying to... They changed in Heart of the Swarm, which I've always been unhappy about and sad about, but they changed it so you can't warp onto the high ground from a low ground pylon.
I think that's a good thing, Wolf. I think that's a good thing.
I miss it, Moonglade.
I know you miss it.
But when I get my flashbacks, I'm like, oh, I can warp in here on this map. Then I'm like, oh, not anymore, though.
Oh, yeah. Balanced, I'm sorry.
I love to do proxy 1 gate on Zelnaga with the pylon on the low ground, gateway on the high ground, you know, sort of thing.
Okay.
So then they have to go all the way around to kill it if they want to kill the pylon.
Right,
and you can, if they want to commit to killing the gateway with their SCVs, you can get ahead economically. That was one of my favorite, like, very tempo-oriented cheeses to do.
Yeah.
And with the pylon, of course, being forced to be in the main, you can kind of, like, wall it off with gateways, but it's just, it's not the same.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a fun idea by Blizzard. I definitely am enjoying it still. I just feel bad for the competitive players.
Well, I guess it is at kind of like the end of the year, so there shouldn't be too many tournaments around here, though we have a couple left. Like, I think DreamHack Winners coming up very, very soon, and obviously HOT6 is here.
Well, you just never want to be out of practice anyways, is if you can help it. You know, there's...
Yeah, I know a lot of players kind of like get excited for this holiday break. We're like, oh, this is the time where I can power up. This is the time where I can just do nothing, but I can ladder and practice and get better for next year. So when the tournaments finally come around, I'm at a new level.
Well, players like Marine King who suddenly pop out of nowhere, need this sort of practice while they're in the dark in the background. And I feel like the players who hurt the most from this, pro players at the pro level, are the teamless players who don't have easy access to custom games when they're trying to prepare for a qualifier, for example, because obviously most qualifiers are not running these maps. In fact, I think no qualifier is probably running these maps. That would be absurd. But it's rough when you only can rely on custom practice instead of ladder practice because
it's been inconvenient. Yeah.
Ladder is just you jump right into somebody else who's at your level any time of the day. So we're going to take a look at another shot of our groups here.
Yep. Tomorrow going to be Group B, Su, TY, Rain, and SOS. That's actually going to be an absolutely insane group.
Yeah.
All these players are so sick, and we get to see Zerg play up against TY.
Yeah. I feel like TY might be the weak link in that group. However,
I'm feeling that way as well. But we have seen Su I think his mentality is finally being broken.
No.
He's had too many second places, and he ended up tying for last place at the WCS World Finals.
And TY didn't have the best Home Story Cup performance. He looked okay over there. Going into Group C, Flash obviously did quite well, making it to the finals.
Oh yeah.
And you can see Sky High is the other dark horse, the other side of the coin to Marine King here, a player that no one really expected. We'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit more about that on Thursday. But his bracket to get here was not very strong either. Now Sulky, everyone is wondering, is he back to form? Because people were worried he was falling off. He struggled to remain interested in Starcraft 2. People were saying he was playing Starcraft 1 again for a little while.
Yeah, I believe he was on some stream, playing Brood War at one point.
Yeah.
In the recent times.
He left SKT1. He doesn't have a team right now, so he's teamless. This is really important for him. He's the type of player who really, again, I feel kind of struggles for this current map pool on the ladder. He's trying to get prepared, get ready for this tournament.
Well, I was just really shocked that he left his team.
Well, there's a lot of players that left SKT I was really shocked about as well.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I think it's a huge shame as well because he was definitely one of the front runners for Zerg out here. He was doing very well for himself. He definitely carried a lot of the SKT pride.
Yeah, do you think Su is now going to have to kind of step into that role as the best Zerg player in Korea?
I think he's already the best Zerg player in Korea. Well, outside of Life. Life kind of has these bursts, he's wins just a big tournament, out of nowhere. No one's expecting him to.
He doesn't get fatigued by jet lag. He doesn't seem to...
He's he's a monster, on the international circuit, but he just doesn't seem to, break it in when it comes to these, Korean tournaments.
Yeah.
Not for a long time, at the very least.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really curious to see how Su's going to do, though. Because, I think he's kind of stepped, and I was going to say, is he? But I guess the answer is what you said is he already has stepped into that top Zerg in Korea's shoes.
He is the top Zerg, and definitely, I would say one of the top players, if not, I'd say, top two. Him and Zest, probably, simply because he got GSL, finals, was it 4 times in a row?
Yeah.
4 times in a row. And one other tournament, the finals, was DreamHack Stockholm. He also got to the finals.
Yeah, and he got
5 finals in a row. 5 big finals. He lost them all, but no one does that.
Yeah, he got pretty deep in the GSL Global tournament as well.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's...
so consistent. That is just something that's so consistent, no one else does that. So I definitely think he's still got what it takes, but, I mean, obviously getting second that many times will definitely take its toll.
It's a rough time to be a Zerg, I feel, right now.
It's not easy being Zerg.
In Korea, we've got, a big... it seems like some of our top Zergs are dropping off. Roro, for example, one of the best ZVP players on Sejong, retires.
I cannot believe that.
Big shocker for a lot of people.
I'm so sad to hear that, by the way. When I heard that, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this guy was actually doing great for his team. He might not have been winning any tournaments recently, but... he's such a good Zerg player.
I'm so sad because I've been saying this, and I still continue to echo this a little bit, but I feel like Samsung is going to be one of the bigger contenders going into Pro League next season. I feel like people really need to take them seriously, but you've got these players leaving the team. You've got Stork moving into more of a coaching role. There's a lot of shifting going around. Head coach-wise, nobody knows what's really going on exactly. We've got Roro is gone completely. And I was really looking forward to seeing the performance. Now I'm saying still they look strong, but
they look
crippled from what they were building up to going into the next season.
I completely agree. Losing a Zerg like that, the best Zerg in your team, the guy that was getting a lot of wins for your team last season, going into next season, it's not looking good at all.
Well,
now, especially for SKT as well, when you look at it.
Yeah, well, going into
they lost a lot of players.
Upcoming individual leagues next year, and also into Pro League, I feel like one of the Zergs to watch out for, going back into the Zerg theme, because it seems like we've kind of lost a lot of Zerg power in Korea. Definitely Sue still. Life, I think, is going to make a big resurgence.
I hope so.
And I also think Dark is somebody to look out for. I think this guy's got a lot of potential.
He's been a great player. He hasn't won as much as he probably should have, but
He's kind of like Stats in that he doesn't really have a big individual league performance until WECG.
Yeah.
But he has so many good results in Pro League that you just can't really ignore this guy.
Yeah.
As is a top level Zerg. He's taken off so many important matches. I think this guy is somebody to look out for.
Yeah, Dark. Yeah, very, very good player. I'll have to wait and see if we're going to see any new players come out of the woodworks here.
Right. Or any older ones like Rogue. What happened to him? Is he going to come back to form perhaps? He's still around.
He's still pretty good. Yeah, he's not bad. Such a shame. What was that other player's name? One other player, Zerg player, went to a foreign team. True.
Oh, yeah, True.
True was one of my favorite Zergs last season, and one of my favorite Zergs this year, actually. And
yeah, me too.
It was such a shame to see him go out of Pro League and out of pretty much career.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites as well. The runaway train Zerg, as they call him. He loves his aggression, tons of banelings. Just never goes up to that hive tech. So, yeah, just looking into that. We got a lot of up-and-coming Zergs.
We have a lot of Protoss still. Protoss is still in full power
Still
here.
a lot of Protoss. A lot of Protoss in this tournament. A lot of Protoss in WECG. There's a lot of Protoss in Pro League, in the Kespa Cup.
They're everywhere, man. They're doing very well for themselves, especially Korean Protoss. There's just so many of them, and they're so strong. So many talented. I mean, you just look at the lineup of this tournament. We have all the best Protoss in Korea here.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's basically the battle for who's the best Protoss of them all.
It could actually end up that way. We'll have to wait until we see the round of 8. It's like 8 Protoss. I'm like, okay, that actually could happen too.
It's absolutely
possible. How scary is that, man?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
We've had a few tournaments like that already, and it could happen again.
Yeah.
Korean Protoss is definitely very, very, sick, strong Protoss players. They're definitely the best in the world. Very precise. We're gonna take a look at some scheduling stuff. Just to remind you guys who may have tuned in a little bit late. Obviously, groups A through D are going to be from Tuesday to Friday, and then, of course, we'll have a week off before we go to the round of 8 on the 2nd and 3rd, and then Sunday we'll have the round of 4 and the grand finals on the 7th. So mark your calendars.
Damn straight.
And if you're thinking of coming to Korea, check out these dates.
Yep, it'll be a little cold, but it'll be worth the trip to see these guys.
Yep, and every single match except those matches on the Sunday on the 7th will be here in the studio in Samsung. And if you want to go to the finals, of course, it's going to be in Dongdaemun, I believe. So the information for that, if it's not already posted, is going to be posted eventually. It's in a shopping district in Seoul. And keep in mind, the venue looks sick. It looks futuristic.
Yeah.
Marine King was saying earlier that he wants to go because the finals.
Yeah.
The venue looks really, really good.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. And I mean, it's interesting that they have the round of 4 as well as the grand finals in the same day. Because, I mean, it's going to be a big day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of Starcraft at that event, so it should be a lot of fun as well.
Well, I don't think I've killed this much downtime since the parting Marine King debacle at GSTL Finals in Las Vegas in 2012.
It's my first day at GSL. You gotta break me in, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm putting you through this.
No, this is fine. We're actually having a good conversation.
Yeah, we had a nice chat. There was something I wanted to ask you because we were going down this Zerg line of thinking, and I was really feeling like we were going somewhere.
Yeah, we were. We're getting there. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? That's the question.
That is the question.
Hopefully very shortly into this winner's match, decide which one of these two players get out of the group in first place.
Yep. Well, that's what it's all about, right? Hero versus Marine King. We can just go back to that. We can talk about these guys a little bit more, I think.
Well, yeah. Marine King's victory over Stats.
Very convincing.
Very convincing. I think he actually won the series faster than this downtime has been.
You're probably right, actually.
The first game was pretty short, and then the second game he just dominated. Fast upgrade style. As Hero, what sort of choices do you make in order to defeat this sort of style?
Well, I think you got to understand the timing of the upgrades and what the timings that Marine King wants to hit. That was probably the biggest thing in the second game that really affected what Stats had planned. I feel like Stats had the defense, he simply missed microed, missed force fielded, and was kind of overconfident for it more than anything else. So I think if he simply does not make that mistake, maybe hide in his natural a little bit more, maybe get better force fields so the whole Terran army is blocked out, so when that 1-1 timing comes, they don't get to your Colossi, which is the biggest thing of all.
Yeah, completely agree. You know, getting in there, doing that extra damage, very painful.
I think it all comes down to Hero just playing cleaner. Playing what Hero does. Like, his style would be great against Marine Kings because he would be counterattacking a lot. He would be keeping Marine King in his base for as long as possible. And if Marine King decides to commit to an attack, he will do a lot of damage, just like Hero did to Innovation.
Yeah.
So I think Hero is kind of like, okay, I can play my style. I just have to be very wary of this upgrade-heavy Terran. I might have to get my upgrades a little bit faster, maybe go for 2 Forge a little bit earlier. And from there, I think he can just play a straight-up macro game.
I think we're going to see Catalina as a map pick from Hero, should he lose any set. And I think we're going to see him do Blink Stalkers again. Marine King hasn't really dealt with that sort of crisis just yet.
He didn't deal with, he didn't do it with it too much.
We saw in game 1 it was an Oracle into Blink, which isn't quite the same thing.
It wasn't, and it was on Overgrowth as well, which is a lot harder for Blink to really be capitalized.
Yeah.
Compared to King Sejong Station, to Catalina.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll really have to see what these map picks are.
Yeah, it could be Sejong as well. He decides to go for it, but I think he definitely wants to show a Blink build. And if he's lucky enough to get one of those 2 maps to the starting map, I think he's just going to go ahead and do it in game 1.
Yeah.
You know, get that out there. Say, how does Marine King respond? Does he respond well? You know, is this something I can use in this series? Is this something I want to keep on doing? Or do I want to steer away from this, just try to play a little more defensively, and maybe to that fast third build?
Yeah, I mean,
without Blink and just get Colossi.
Yeah, Hero is very good at the defensive sort of 3-base sort of builds. We did see a lot in Pro League this year, especially on King Sejong Station. He loves to mass observe, just kind of just wait it out. We'll have to wait and see if he wants to play that style against Marine King. It's going to be very interesting. And at the same time, looking from Marine King's perspective, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to play against sort of the very counterattack heavy Hero style, especially with Blink Stalkers. Maybe we'll have to wait and see exactly what he's going to do about that. Maybe nothing. Maybe he'll still go for his same sort of timings because we did see the similar sort of style from Stats.
Yeah. I think that would be pretty. I think it's there's a few different ways they could open in this series, but I like Hero opening game 1 with the Blink build, especially if the map calls for it.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, Hero is going to go Blink every chance he gets.
Yeah. Marine King, I wonder if on a map, like if he gets the chance to pick, would he go Nimbus? Because we didn't get to see him pick in the previous series because he won 2-0.
Well, I'm wondering,
does he want to play on Nimbus? Does
he want to play on Nimbus? Is every map available for him to pick as well?
We don't know actually. I don't.
We need to figure out if there's going to be a veto system. We'll figure that out for tomorrow at the very least.
Yeah. I think the first map is random, but I could be wrong because the maps usually, if the first map is random, it's announced beforehand, and I couldn't see that, so I think the vetoes might actually be done
right.
off.
I think like 4 years ago it was kind of random. Like I had to play on a map that I was not comfortable with for my first match way back then, so maybe it hasn't changed.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
And also, like the way they do qualifiers is kind of interesting for you guys that don't know out there. Just for the HOT6 Cup qualifiers, and I believe for
Code A they changed it to this as well. Yeah,
it's like a single elimination until it gets to the semifinals, and then it becomes a double elimination for the semifinals onwards. And that's how actually Marine King got in, because he lost in the grand finals to who did he lose to again?
Did he lose to Sky High? Maybe was that same group? I can't remember.
I think he might have lost to Biol.
He ended up rematching Biol.
Yeah. I think.
Did he lose in the semis?
I think he lost in the semis.
I've looked at a lot of brackets.
And he lost in the semis. Then he had to go through Biol, I think. It's hard to remember without looking at the stat. But yeah, I think he eventually lost, but then he came back through the loser bracket. So
my brain is fried from looking at all the brackets.
There was a lot of brackets.
Yeah, so look at you guys. Like I got on the IRC channel last night because the brackets weren't working for me. And I was like, I need the brackets. Now it's a bit tough for me to look them up while we're on camera here during this downtime.
Yeah, it's a very interesting system as well. It's kind of funky. I kind of like it. But I feel sorry for all the players that don't make it to the round of 4.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I've never really seen a tournament format quite like this before. Usually it's double elimination all the way or none of the way.
Or not all the way. Yeah, simply put. Yeah.
But I guess that's how they get the second player. That's they flow that around.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to get it.
I mean it looks like we might actually do the losers match, and producer just asks for your understanding. And also, the 2 losing players actually have to both agree to play. If either declines, because this is their right as the loser's player to play.
Yeah, well, they're expecting to play after this match, so they might not be ready. They might not be warmed up. They may be just taking a break right now, and they're like, "Oh, you want us to play now? Like, I'm not ready. My hands are cold. I haven't been playing any games recently. Like, I guess fair enough. Makes sense."
While we have this downtime, I think if we do that, we might go to commercial break. I'm not even sure. This is quite possibly, yeah, like I said, the longest downtime that I've ever had, like in the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it might be.
I feel special.
It's here with you, Moonglaze. I'm glad to spend it with you. Both players agreed. But before we go into this, I want to tell you guys to go on Twitter, go on Facebook, wherever you want to go, Reddit, and spread the word, because this is going to be an insane, well, even the loser's match is going to be great, but Marine King made the winner's match. I don't think anybody really expected this.
That's a lot of hype behind that.
That's a lot of hype, and I know probably a lot of people are pouring in here slowly as they're starting to hear about it, but speed up that process, dump them into this Twitch channel.
It's good that we have a lot of downtime, so it can build up. You know, we're slowly getting there. More and more people are coming in to see Marine King, but might have to start with innovation and stats.
Yeah. So I just, again, was clarified by our producer that we're going to just make sure one more time the players both said they're okay with it, but they need to get ready. They need to make sure their settings are all good. And so just a little bit longer until we get into that.
Time, yeah.
Please be patient, everyone.
Well, we can talk about stats and innovation now.
Yeah, we can.
Both players had pretty rocky games against their opponents'
Yeah, who do you favor here, actually?
I think, oh, man, I mean, both series were so one-sided. So I'm not entirely sure. They're kind of like playing at a lesser level. I mean, we got like Hero and Marine King playing at this high level, and then we got Innovation and Stats playing at like just a little bit worse. They're still playing pretty solid, but
yeah, we had 2 O's, so that's
it was pretty one-sided losses, but not shocking, I guess. I mean, Stats looked a little rocky with his control, losing his Colossi like that in the second game really was really unimpressive, to be honest.
Yeah. I want to favor Innovation, to be honest. I feel like Stats made more mistakes than Innovation did in his loss. I feel like he played really well. He played really standard. He didn't make too many big mistakes. Whereas Stats showed a little bit of extra sloppiness that I feel like might give Innovation the edge. And if you lose to Marine King as well, I mean, and this is not to knock on Marine King, losing to the player who's by far considered to be the weakest player in the group, and by many to be the weakest player in the tournament, right off the bat, can shake you up emotionally a little bit.
Yeah, it'd make you feel definitely pretty bad. Like, oh, I lost to the guy that no one thought they would lose to pretty one-sidedly.
He kind of smacked me down 2-0 like really hard both games.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you. I give the edge to Innovation in this one for sure.
Innovation's got to be happy at the very least doesn't have to play against Marine King with how well he's looking today, and also in the TBT.
Not yet.
Not yet. It could happen, though.
It could happen, Wolf. We have to wait and see who's going to win this one and who's going to lose the winner's match.
Yep. That's pretty okay chance that it could happen.
It could happen. Man, I can't wait to cast the game again.
I know.
It's been so long, Wolf.
It's been so long since I've commentated. It's actually been a long time before today since I'd commentated.
I'm gonna be like a little rusty again. Like I was nervous before the cast, but now I'm gonna be nervous again. It's been so long. Like,
it's been so long. Well, for you got to do BlizzCon, so you're a little bit more recent than me.
I guess, yeah. That was a great experience, by the way. I was so grateful to be there, and those grand finals was something else.
Yeah,
if you guys haven't seen it, you got to go back and watch the BlizzCon round of 4 at the very least.
At least go back and check out those pics of the finals venue and how much fun everyone was having while you weren't there and while you weren't watching.
That too.
Why weren't you watching? Because it was BlizzCon finals. Why weren't you watching?
Yeah.
My wife was having a baby. What? Come on, you watch it. At least watch it on your phone. There's a Twitch.tv app. You can download it on the App Store or the Google Play Store, respectively. You probably even get that now, like on Windows phones and the weird Ubuntu phone. Probably get that on your old Nokia flip phone by now. Technology's advanced, man.
No, that must look like crazy, Wolf. That's
like you can get Twitch TV on your like old phone that can run Snake, like it's in black and white, and you can see like the SUVs going brr, brr, like across mine.
Well. Here's our look at our first player that is going to be subbing in for the winner's match. Stats.
Yeah.
Warming up, getting ready.
Innovation, our Terran player, will be doing the same.
And hopefully we'll have this underway very, very shortly here.
I'm hoping so.
I'm hoping so too, Wolf.
I just can't contain myself any longer.
Yep, things are looking
I'm
good.
actually just going to go down there, pick up one of these 2 players, kick him out of the booth, sit down and play it myself. If this continues.
I might just log into my account, and I'll let Hero play on that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Suddenly, Moonglade's in the round of 8.
Not complaining. No, I'm not used to these maps anymore, man. I'm used to Ohana. Like, where's my Ohana? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can play against Innovation.
You're like, I'd like to pick Metalopolis.
Yeah, I choose. Yeah, like what Nimbus? I chose Akalon Wastes. Like, I don't know if I can do this.
Would you ever choose Akalon Wastes?
No.
Not even for ZVZ.
I mean, it's not a horrible map for Zerg. It's not a horrible map.
I don't think I've ever heard a Zerg say that about Akalon before.
Well, I'm trying to think. It's been so long since I played it. In today's meta, actually, it probably is horrible because it's such an easy third base for Terran and Protoss.
Do you remember a map called Entombed Valley?
Yes, how could I forget such a map? Such a map. One that I wish to forget, actually. Thanks a lot, Wolf. Entombed Valley.
Just thought I'd ask if you remember it.
Oh, man. What about Delta, what was it?
Delta Quadrant?
Delta Quadrant. What about that chestnut?
Yeah. That map, I'm actually drawing a blank. The backdoor base was gold, right? But it had rocks.
It wasn't gold, but it did have rocks.
It was not gold.
It was not gold, I'm afraid.
Were there any gold bases on that map?
I think there were, and they had rocks, and it was either towards the middle, top and bottom, left and right, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe they're like diagonally from each other.
But it was not a pleasant map. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I mean, it was for me because I love to put that pylon right across the ridge and warp DTs on the other side of it in all matchups.
Okay, well,
I found that to be pleasant.
You know, us Zerg players are kind of finicky about our maps. We suffer more than most, I think. Terran suffers the least, and I think Protoss has a lot to gain on specific maps. But Zerg, it's very rarely just a fantastic Zerg map.
Do you remember a strat?
Oh, come on.
That you didn't have?
What do we got here? Doesn't like the pillow on his chair.
No, not good enough, he says.
It needs to be firmer for my head.
Anyway,
what were you saying?
So do you remember does it have speakers in it?
It kind of looks like it does, doesn't it? Oh, you know what it is. It's the sound, the sound canceling noise.
Oh, that is
it's like
next level. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
I was just going to ask you, do you remember the Korean 4-way warp gate PvP where you pull out a gas and just do massive Zealot warpins?
How could I forget, Wolf?
Worst map ever for that Delta Quadrant. All right, guys, finally, it's time. We're going into a loser's match, so don't be confused if you tuned in late. The winners match will happen after this, assuming we can ever get Hero logged in. King Sejong Station is going to be the first map here. The loser is going home.
Yeah, yes they are. This is going to be a very exciting match. I was not expecting to see these two players in the loser bracket.
Nor was I. Down to the bottom right, in red.
KT roster stats.
Hopefully this is just me and there's no actual bopping going on in there with that lag.
A little bit of
pipping in and out.
Spiking there. Hopefully it stops. Might have to see a pause. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, so.
Whoa, this is, see, Marine King moves to the winner's match. Sky is falling. It's daytime outside, and
it's not meant to
how
happen.
many more technical difficulties can occur? It seems like the problem could be something related to BattleNet, is what I was told. There seems to be some feeling about that.
Some sort of,
It couldn't be related to this other game that got released recently, some sort of expansion pack to a game where it's like a lot of people, they keep telling me something about, always just people, I'm in the queue time, waiting a long time, something, level 100, and they keep waiting, and then I almost got in, but I had to keep waiting, or my internet dropped for a second, now I have to start over. I don't know what they're talking about. I heard there's like, maybe it's related to something, Draven from League of Legends, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe it's that cool new Heroes of the Storm game. A lot of people are playing that these days.
That could be it, Wolf. I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about, but it could have something to do with that. Though I don't know, man. Because it'd be the Korean server, and I mean the Korean server just isn't that populated for other such games. Oh, you know, Korean internet in general.
Yeah, Korean internet's pretty good.
It is pretty strong. One of the strongest in the world, I would have to say.
It's in my
coming from Australia. I know.
Well, coming from America, man.
I know bad internet. No, you do not. You do not know bad internet.
Have you spent a lot of time in America using American internet though?
I have.
More than I've spent in Australia. I know you've done that.
Well, I have been to America many times, and I have used their internet. And let's just say, Straight internet is worse.
All
the Aussies out there know what I'm talking about. They're watching right now, and they're like nodding their heads like.
There's kind of this like unspoken thing that happens though in Seoul where everyone's kind of like, oh, the Seoul internet is so good, and everyone like kind of high fives and like, yeah, it's so good, it's good now. But then everyone's go, but where I'm from, the internet was definitely worse than yours. Well, I'm from New Zealand, and let me tell you, no, I'm actually from England, and let me tell you, it's pretty bad.
English internet is pretty bad.
And like, oh no, actually, I'm from Luxembourg, and I can tell you, it's pretty terrible over there.
Do you know where Australia is on the map of the world, my friend? Because we're in the middle of nowhere, like right down there, down under.
I've heard it's down under.
It's down under, and yes, we have copper wires, and it's not going to get any better.
It could get better.
No, it won't. Actually, there was a plan for it to get better, but then our new prime minister said no to that.
Aww.
So copper wires.
Is that the one that said that people couldn't play Mortal Kombat?
No, that's just the gaming regulations as well.
Oh, okay.
That's also a thing. Let's not get into that as well. We have a lot of problems with gaming and esports and internet and everything else in Australia.
But you guys have kangaroos. I don't have that.
I guess we have drop bears and koalas and kangaroos and.
Yeah, it's just hard to get a shrimp on the Barbie around here.
We don't actually say that, Wolf. I'm sorry, mate. We don't say that.
Well, crikey. Well, crikey, Moonglade. I don't know what to tell you.
Ah, mate. I don't know what to say to you anymore.
Well, I'm defo excited to get into this.
You're defo?
Yeah, it's. And
I don't even know what defo is, man. That's not even Australian.
Well, I'm keen as.
All right, that's.
And I think it's pretty sus.
You can say defs.
Yeah, defs.
I'm totes. Totes keen for that.
Pretty sus. I think it's pretty sus that you don't think that that's a thing to say defo, because I've heard also you said it. All right,
we're back.
All right, Moonglade.
Enough of that Australian talk.
All right, let's make a chant of all the old bad maps in the old pools.
SK Telecom T1 Innovation.
Is innovation or terrible? Let's make a chant so that we don't have any more technical problems.
No, let's not.
Let's lock pinky toes under the desk so this doesn't happen anymore.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's no. Let's do this first.
Well.
Oh, we didn't even do it.
Well, we got him earlier, I guess.
That's right. All right. Well.
All right. We're in it.
First innovation. Wolf. Let's focus. We're back after an hour of downtime.
Yeah, that was quite intense.
We talked about everything under the sun. We have nothing left to talk about this week, if anything happens.
Yeah, actually, you and I were going to hang out a few times, but I think we might as well just not. I think I've talked. I think we've spent too much time together.
Yeah, I kind of agree. But
okay, standard openings.
Very standard openings. Reaper opening, 1 gate, 1 gas opening, 4 stats. Everything is normal. Everything is safe. They don't want to take too many chances. They cannot afford to lose this series because they will be out of the tournament, and no one wants to go out last or first. Come last.
Come in last place, go out first.
Yeah. Another great block there. The standard sort of SimCity from stats to block that Reaper Scout.
Let's see that they actually match each other in the most recent GSL Code S in the round of 16. Innovation was able to take a 2-1 victory.
How about that?
Again, slightly favoring him here.
Slightly favoring him.
Doing that same pull out of gas, leaving the 1 in, so you can get that reactor up right after the Reaper and continue to mine that gas, but at the same time get a faster CC.
Yep.
Zealot going to be canceled here as soon as the SCV gets into this threshold because he knows he doesn't need that anymore. No eBay block is possible.
None at all.
Look at that timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. And CC down at the same time. Reactor started. Very standard openings for these guys. I'm very curious to see what Stats' game plan is going to be and if he is going to go for that counter-attack-oriented strat that he did do on this map in the last series. Hopefully he does it a little bit better. Doesn't lose 2 Colossi, 2 Marines and Marauders, and 2 Medivacs. That is all I have to say on the matter, Wolf.
Yeah. I'm hoping the same.
And there's a great scout. The Reaper Scout is in, sees the block, realizes he cannot really go any further without risking the Reaper's life to the Mothership Core and a potential Stalker.
Yeah. You know, we do see a 3rd barracks being added now. Feeling like Innovation wants to... Oh, you might actually pick off 1. Nope, a good micro here by Stats.
A little bit of damage.
Well, it can't stick around too long.
Gets a kill.
Well, that Mothership Core just a little bit too slow to catch that second jump. But, you know, I feel like Innovation's just going to stick to his guns here, stick to the style that we know and love, is to just go for that aggressive macro style. Looks like you might see a Stargate. Oh, no, it's Twilight Council.
All right, so it's going to be the very similar style. I doubt we're going to see Stats really commit to anything. He's going to simply kind of counterattack, take map control, create some pressure, pick off kills if he can, and counterattack if Innovation decides to go for that bio timing across the map in an attempt to kind of cancel that third base more than anything else.
Yeah, Twilight Council coming up now is going to give him just, with that Robo, it's going to be one of these fakes. I mean, everyone sees a Twilight Council and thinks, okay, it could be dangerous for the Terran. We very rarely in Korea see any more actual commitments to Blink Stalker attacks. It's just the pressure.
I think simply it's just been too figured out at this point. Like, Terran will be prepared for it, especially with 3 racks, with Stim well on the way, and great scouting with this Reaper actually. Going to get into the main base.
Nice.
Sees everything.
All of it, even the Robo.
And he might even get a probe for his troubles as well, which would just be icing on the cake. He gets it. He cannot get out.
Nope, that's
that would not be fair. And he dies. So, 2 probe kills. And, ooh.
That's not what he's going to expect to see.
He was not expecting that at all.
And this is going to lead into probably a DT drop.
Yep, I would have to say so, Wolf. Very, very powerful strategy. Very unexpected at this point. Innovation thinks he's got it all sorted out. Thinks he's got it all figured out. But DT drop is the least
of his concerns right now. He does have that eBay coming up for upgrades, which will allow him to also make safety turrets.
Yeah.
But,
will he?
Are you really going to make blind turrets right now when you've already seen no reason to believe you're going to have a Stargate and no reason to believe you're going to see DTs? This is a strat that used to be quite popular, but only in the old times. DT drops were, players like Killer were doing it all the time. Tails, we saw him do it a lot.
Yeah. It's very old school.
It's very old school. It's definitely viable, but it's just not in the meta, and so he's not going to be expecting that after seeing a Twilight Council and a Robotics.
Absolutely, but we still see a safety tart at the natural, which is kind of just stop everything because there's going to be enough. There's going to be enough scans for at least one base, and it is going to be the main base that needs it. And we already see Marines and Marauders in position. Like if the Warp Prism goes near that, it will get shot down.
Okay, he's got 2 DTs. He should be able to unload them before the Warp Prism gets focused.
Yes, but a scan will just end them, essentially.
Yep. They have no combat shields, so you can actually one-shot each Marine. Already a Stim here and that turret, but 3, he doesn't
completely shut down.
Doesn't even get a single swipe off. He canceled the swipe, so he didn't even kill a single Marine.
Nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. So a huge kind of deflection there from Innovation.
Wow, he is really reaching here. He gets one SCV with that.
I guess you got to do what you can, right?
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to.
Yeah. So it was deflected, but he only committed to 2 DTs. 1 is still alive, so he can kind of force out a scan at the very least at a point.
But you know what this tells Innovation, too, is Blink is very far away, and with no Blink, he can do a lot with his medevacs without fear of a Blink Stalker chasing him down. Ooh. Oh, he's got a turret in here, too, actually, now.
Yeah, he's completely ready for it. He can pick it up again.
Shell.
Oh, he picks it up again, so, he's finding a little bit of bang for his buck there. But I think this is going to be the scariest thing of all. He does not see it coming. Well, he does have a Colossi.
Yeah, and he saw that with the obs for just a second. He doesn't know that it's unloaded, but he's expecting it towards the main. It's going to come by ground, though. He's not ready for that. He's got no units down here. He's going to have to pull down and drop that Nexus cannon right away, and Innovation's just going to back off immediately.
Very nice deflection there.
The Observer's there to follow. Wants to make sure he's leaving completely, not just going to swing around for the main base.
Yep. We're going to see this Warp Prism try and go in again. Looks like he gave it up. He's just going to camp the third base. Force out a scan at the very least when the time comes. And now we're going to go into that standard sort of mid-game that we would see from like an Oracle, but didn't do nearly as much damage, essentially.
But he's got planned over here. Somebody's going to hide anything, right?
I don't think he'll hide anything. I think it'll be like an occasional Zealot warp-in counter-attack on the third base when the time comes.
Yeah, I just want to keep the probe over there to scout later.
I don't know if we'd see any more commitment. We do see a very early +1 armor, though, from stats, so maybe we're going to see something, but I feel like he's kind of just playing defensive. He's kind of playing the map, playing the situation, and will eventually go into that third base. Whoa, very, very early Guardian Shield there.
Yeah, oopsie daisy on that one.
Yeah.
Well, this DT may force to cancel 2 more swipes.
Yep, cancel it. He can run away. He won't get away there.
Yeah, Concussive Shell's done this time.
Forces a scan.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying, though. Biggest issue. Oh, hold that thought. He's going to go ahead and target these medevacs down. 1 shot off, but still.
Missed target, yeah.
And this is going to be a pretty expensive trade here for Innovation.
Yeah, that was definitely not worth it. But, I mean, Innovation still with a very, very heavy supply lead. 20 supply already.
And he's going to be able to maybe get this third. Oh, not quite. A few seconds earlier would have been better. If he was doing that at the same time he did that drop, he would have been able to get it.
Yeah, I agree completely. So,
just a few seconds off there.
Just a few seconds. But 20 supply lead for Innovation here, and it was simply from deflecting that DT drop.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
That's all it takes, man. It's such a huge commitment to those resources. All that gas, and that can really hurt you upgrade-wise, too. The upgrades are actually even for these two right now. Keep in mind that there's actually a worker lead. It was for like a second for Innovation, but he's tied. And with the mules, soon to be triple mules as that CZ finishes up, pretty good place to be as a Terran player. It's so much economy, so much mineral income.
Yeah, this is exactly where Innovation wants to be. This is where he is most comfortable. He's going to that heavy macro game, heavy mid game. He might even want to eventually just pull the SCVs and just go for that all in. But I think it's going to be up to this damage that he can do with this drop as well. And I think we're going to see a lot of damage from this.
Yeah, definitely. So, targeting down that Nexus right now. The big stim here.
And he's going to get it.
He's just going to get it, man. He's actually going to get that Nexus. Unbelievable. Picks up, gets out, tries to poke over here, loses a lot of Marines, but you know what? The distraction is definitely worth it.
Completely worth it. Up 20 supplies still. Up a base now. And I think this is kind of the position exactly where Innovation wants to be in, where he can pull the SCVs if he desires. He needs to start that Viking count, though. He cannot just stay on bio and mines forever.
Yeah, you know, I'm worried about the SCV pull, because at this point, I feel like it's not really necessary. And the storm is going to be done. I feel like it's better to just keep attacking with ground forces like this. Make sure that, you know, you get good trades. Don't stick around too long on those Colossi.
Yep, I agree completely.
But, you know, I mean, an SCV pull could work, but I think the safety of just keep doing things like this, trying to deny these Nexi.
I'm getting the impression he might not want to, because he simply has not invested in any Vikings yet. He's simply investing in a lot of bio and a lot of mines. And whoa, a blink forward, but onto mines.
Yep, these two mines still are completely uncontested. Another drop here in the main base, killing a lot of probes, and the economy for stats is absolutely trash right now.
Yeah, it is getting messed up, and I mean, Innovation just completely, he's in the tempo, he has the tempo control, he's not letting it go either, he's just constantly harassing, constantly doing these drops.
Nice cleanup on those, yeah, he's maintaining that lead. I was just saying, nice cleanup on those Widow Mines, because it looked like maybe Innovation was going to try to bait him, attack the natural again, try to force a cancel on that Nexus, and then get him to run into those Widow Mines.
Yep. And we see more bio move across the map, and a starport is in the making, a second starport. Still seeing Medivacs being made. No Vikings on the map just yet, which is very surprising considering how many, well, considering he sees a Colossi at the very least. Doesn't look like he wants to commit to that, and he's very comfortable just trading like he is. We finally see a bit of a counterattack from Stats at the top. Going to go to that third base with some Zealots.
Yep. And meanwhile, a big attack over here at the third base. He's got a good position on these Zealots. They're not able to get around, but here come the Storms. He's going to have to leave, and Stats is crawling his way back into this. Without Ghosts, you know, dealing with these High Templars is a bit of a problem. He's just trying to use his overwhelming force to just split these armies apart. He drops now into the main base, force a big warp in there. This isn't going to be enough to defend those Zealots. Meanwhile, and actually because he's a bit distracted by that, may end up losing this drop. Stalkers can blink.
Very, very close there. And he ended up losing it as well. So, I mean, this is a little too much of overcommittal to harassment from Innovation. He thought he had such a tempo advantage, such an economic advantage, that he just wanted to try and, like, end the game. He's killing his own supply in frustration.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say anyway.
That's kind of weird, but he's still got a huge worker lead.
Sometimes you just got to vent. You just got to get it out.
Yeah.
And finally, yeah, the Viking production has begun. 3 Colossi, yeah, he definitely needs Vikings for that. He cannot simply just overwhelm that with bio mines.
I think it's time for Ghost, too. The Ghost Academy is finishing up, and that's going to give him a lot of flexibility here. The worker lead is starting to get filled up here as Stats is spending a lot of chrono boost on that. He's getting the +3 armor now to keep his upgrades competitive. And, I mean, the second Robo coming up here is just kind of like, all right, I'm ready to keep you guessing when it comes to what AoE damage I'm prioritizing. But he's still got to be careful. This army that's moving across the map is strong. I don't think it's strong enough to actually contest any of this, though. He can maybe poke, he can try to pick off a few units here and there, but if he actually tries to commit to a big attack, he's going to be very he's going to realize very quickly he's made a mistake. He's just not quite strong enough to take a real frontal engagement right now. His composition is not where it needs to be.
He's really invested a lot in this 3 Medivac drop here. He's going to have to find a lot of damage, or he's going to have to get out alive, because he cannot afford to lose them, because I think it'll essentially reset the game at this point. Stats has kind of called his way back, defended for long enough. And here we go, another drop. There's simply nothing there to defend. He could lose his Cybercore, could lose his Nexus.
Yeah, losing the Nexus would hurt a lot, losing all that gas mining. This drop here at the natural does very little damage, but it's actually enough to keep the units away from the main base, so he gets this kill.
Wow.
Might be able to kill the Cyber Core. These killing these assimilators would be huge too, because that's what really matters at that base, is that gas. So if he remakes the Nexus, has to remake the assimilators as well. That's annoying.
It is annoying. And he's going to salvage a lot of his medivacs. I don't think he can keep them there. I think Stalkers will actually just kill them if they see them. He's also worried about that mine.
Love these cannons.
Oh, I actually really love those cannons. That's such a good idea.
It makes small forces like this so much less of a threat. It also means that Ghosts can't zone in as easily, and they're also going to be... Oh,
he lost all medivacs. Now the supply count is even, essentially. Completely even at this point. The tech is very good for stats. He has a lot of High Templar as well as Colossi. It's going to be really up to Innovation to get the right units out, get enough Ghosts as well as Vikings.
Yeah, I wonder where the next place to take a base for Innovation is going to be, because I don't think he's ended this one on 3 base anymore. Definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen actually a 4th base go up just yet. And
yeah.
I truly hope it is going to be the mid base once again.
Yeah, take that planetary.
But maybe just a little too late. There it goes, 4th base down at the mid. But I think he could have done this a long time ago, especially when he was doing all these drops. He had such a tempo, he had such a big window of opportunity to put down a 4th base.
I feel like the key in this game is going to be the Vikings. If he can get the Vikings, the Viking ratio is really nice right now, 12-3 on those Colossi. If he can get a good position on those, if he can eliminate those Colossi, even the low ghost count that he has right now should be enough to help him fight this army straight up. He's got good upgrades. He's got 3-3 on the way. I think the Viking connections are the most important part.
Yep, I agree completely. He has to have them in a great position here. He has to find the position. That's what it's all about in this part of the game when it comes to TVP. You have to have the position. It's all about positioning. It's all about who gets the storms off, who gets the Colossi shots off, where the Vikings are. Are they shooting the Colossi, or are they getting sniped by storms, by Stalkers? Ooh, and whoa, these are out way too far.
Yeah. It's lucky he only loses one and actually takes a ghost with him. That actually ended up being better for stats than it was for Innovation, but that was a scary moment there.
That was very scary. A little bit, yeah, too much of an overcommittal there. But, I mean, look where Stats' army is now. He has to win this fight. He has to push through. There's no Mothership Core here. He cannot recall at all.
He's got nowhere to run. This is going to be possibly a game-deciding moment here. Good zoning out with these Stalkers, but snipes are real here on these High Templar. You never want those ghosts to allow those ghosts to be in the front to get these free snipes. You do not want those storms of hitting ghosts. They got a lot of hit points, and the Viking hits here are really, really strong. And he's got nowhere to run. The Colossi are falling like flies here. Zealot harassment is meanwhile occurring at the natural, but this entire army is destroyed. And this opens up a huge counterattack potential here for Innovation, who cleans up these Zealots with ease. Some Stalkers do escape, but the only things between Innovation killing one of these bases, especially that 4th, and that 4th base, is these few High Templar. He's got a few High Templar, and he's making 2 Colossi at a time, but they're still in such a low number, and the 3-3 upgrades are about to finish. This planetary is absolutely secure.
That was such a huge mistake. I'm actually really baffled as to why Stats would go that way, considering he didn't have a Mothership Core for recall. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was thinking the Mothership Core does recall like they do in Brood War or something, so like he has to be in the main base, then he can recall back. I have no idea what Stats was thinking when he made that move, but it was a critical move, and I believe it cost him the game.
Yeah, I think he thought it was with his army. It certainly was not. Well, that scan gives him a good idea about his opponent's army size, which is pretty small. He also is able to pick off that Observer. Ghostly the charge here again, and the control for Innovation is so sick.
Perfect EMP, no storms whatsoever left. And I think this is simply zoning him out from this point. The Vikings are enough to deal with what's left of the Colossi, and there's simply too much Terran.
GG. Innovation takes game number 1. Trying to fight his way back to that final match.
That was a huge mistake from Stats. I can't believe he moved that way with his army without any way of escaping.
He had nowhere to run.
He had nowhere to run, and he lost everything for free.
Well, you know, mistakes like this happen in competitive play, especially under these circumstances where, you know, the technical difficulties and everything else, the high pressure. This is a loser's match.
Yep.
Stats wants to prove that his WECG run was not a fluke.
Yep. The pure form of ecstasy called MDMA.
So
learning new things here in this song.
I was not expecting those lyrics.
So Innovation now 1 win away from redeeming himself. Stats needs to get focused, because if he loses, it's all over for him. And, you know, people might even just say that his run was a fluke. If he's if he loses here, losing in the round of 16 or really early on, with a pretty poor performance, pretty lackluster performance, to be honest.
I have not been impressed with Zest's performance today. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he was very satisfied after his WECG win. Maybe took a break. Hard to say exactly. But yeah, today he just doesn't seem to be on his game. And if he makes more decisions like he did with his army, he's not going to last another game here.
No, certainly not, Moonglade. Well, Innovation looking good, though. Looking solid. And I favored him, again, mostly just because stats seem to be a bit off today.
Yeah.
And that trend is continuing.
It is.
I worry for stats here.
Yep, I'm very nervous for him. So we'll have to wait and see what the map is going to be for Game 2. That will tell a lot of the story of what's going to happen. Here we go, Deadwing. Ooh, haven't seen this map today.
Wants to play late game.
Lots of late game, very big map here. Can be some shenanigans with tanks, but hopefully we won't see any because they don't work too often. And we do see Blink very, very early on from Protosses these days. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what Stats has planned. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a proxy Stargate.
You know, I think we might see just like a Blink feign into a macro game. I think he just wants to play like a game where maybe he's far away from his opponent and get to that late game with his Storms as Colossi again.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't have to worry about any weird map movements like in the fast drops that he was dealing with, because he really struggled to defend his Nexi.
Yeah, he did.
And on the map of this big, maybe he's just gonna have an easier time of it. But, you know, we could see Proxy Oracle as well. Absolutely a possibility.
I mean, the more late game he wants to play, the more in Innovation's sort of area he's going to be playing into. This is where Innovation's going to be the most comfortable, when he has that macro going, is when he's like, his robot brain is activated and he can just play that style that he loves so much in the late game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Stats has planned. I mean, we did see a pretty funky strat this last game with a DT drop.
Yeah. All right, map seems to be loaded. I'm crossing my fingers and my toes. We got no technical difficulties here before we go into this. Be in mind, guys, this is the last big Korean StarCraft 2 match that we have this year. It's been announced right away. You know, for the end of the year, the last GOMTV tournament. You know, this is going to be a pretty important match, especially because of those WCS points. Not just the big prize money. Those points getting a head start going into next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very important tournament. WCS points on the line. These guys just went to, Innovation and Hero just went to BlizzCon. They had so much fun. They want to go back. They can't afford to lose here.
Stats wants to go.
Stats wants to go. He's jelly. But he ain't playing too well.
Imagine Marine King at BlizzCon.
Oh, man. He'd have so many fans. Well, that would be crazy. That'd be a dream come true, I think.
Well, Moonglade, I'm getting the feeling.
What are you feeling?
Might have a technical difficulty.
Uh-oh. It looks like Innovation can't log in. No, I don't know. Hopefully not. We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully not.
Exactly what's going on.
I'll be honest with you guys, my voice is dying because I'm a bit sick.
Hang in there, Wolf.
I've not been able to refill my water. I'm waiting for the moment for the game to start so I can run over and refill my water. I haven't been able to do this. I've been ready. Like, I'm like on the starting blocks right now to sprint the 14-meter dash. No, it's even less than that. I'd say maybe like...
That is not 14 meters. That's like 5 meters at most.
No, that's like 9 meters. The 9-meter dash. Run over there and get my water so I can survive. I'm trying to power through this.
Hang in there, man.
I'm hanging in there.
We're halfway through, I think.
We're halfway through our dead time.
We're halfway through.
So to be honest, I have no idea what the problem is, if there's any at all.
It looks like this countdown
It looks like
happening.
it's resolved, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
We're going to be jumping right into the game. The game is loading now.
That it is, guys. Game number 2 of our losers match for Group A on Deadwing for the HOT6 last big match with Wolf and Moonglade.
Here we go, guys. Game has loaded. In the top left of Deadwing, we have the Protoss player.
KT roster stats.
Stats. I did my 9-meter dash. I'm back. What was my time?
Welcome back. That was very quick. Has to win this game.
Has to. Up against his opponent, cross spawns, probably not what he wants. Innovation.
SK Telecom T1 Innovation.
Oh, I screwed it up. I'm fired.
That's so good, man.
I knew that's the last straw I'm out.
I'm sorry, man. Innovation just has to win this game. Goes to the, I guess, the losers final.
We call it the final match.
The final match.
Yep.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, it is technically the losers final if you want to think of it as a double bracket situation. But
yeah.
What we call it here in Korea generally is the final match.
It's the PG way to call it. It's the friendly way to call it.
Yeah.
I agree with it, and I will call it a final match from now on. And we'll have to wait and see if Innovation is going to go for that CC first, which I so strongly believe he is, considering how much minerals he has compiled.
It's going to work out pretty well for him for the map and the spawning locations.
It couldn't be better, actually. Yeah, he's in a very safe place right now. Such a big map, and I definitely think that Innovation is playing for the late game in this map.
Now I have to ask you, do you think that on this map we'll end up seeing Innovation go for an SCV pull? Because it's cross-spawn, but the reason why I ask is because if I'm Innovation, I probably want to avoid playing against late-game stats, PVT.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you don't want to go that late against any sort of Protoss. I think it really comes down to how much damage you can do early. I feel like I'm not entirely sure the Terran mindset behind, like, do they want to do that from the start, or is this kind of like a thing they go to when they think they can? Because I think, like, it's such a good idea if you've done enough damage early on, you've done the drops, you've killed enough probes, that all you have to do is go for that finishing blow with SCVs and overwhelm and have enough Vikings to kill the Class I. I think that's what it should come down to.
I mean, he's so good at it.
He is so good at it.
That's part of the reason why I asked.
It's also like such a common thing right now. Like, it is such a common style that Protoss players do play for it. They are ready for it these days.
Yeah.
They don't completely tech to the late game. They make a lot of Class A. They get a lot of upgrades. They get a lot of Zealots.
It's so slow on this map, too, because of the distance. At these positions especially. I mean, even at vertical spawns, it's not close by any means.
Yeah, but I think it'd be much more viable in a vertical spawn.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably going to sway against it for that reason. He's probably looking at this and going, oh, God, okay, we're cross spawns. But I don't know. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I fear for Innovation, just as I fear for any Terran player, having to play against such a great late-game Protoss on this map at cross spawns. It's a very scary situation because, as you can see, like if you look at the map closely, the 4th base isn't too far away for the Protoss. You get 4 bases up, and then it's like endless AoE, whichever type they want. Not the Disruptor yet, that comes in the Legacy of the Void, but...
Very fast 3rd CC as well. Similar to Marine King style, actually.
Yeah, worked well against stats from Marine King, so...
Yeah, I can't blame him at all, considering the map. Denies the Probe Scout very efficiently. And yeah, I mean, we know for sure now that Innovation definitely wants to go to that late game. He wants to play this map the way it should be played. I mean, yeah, as you were saying, very, very easy to get 4 bases on this map. Not too much surface area to defend against. For Protoss, I mean, they will have to suffer a lot of drops. There's some great airspace around the main base and around the natural. So it'll be up to Innovation to kind of apply the pressure before he wants to make anything happen. But not for some time, considering he did go for that double CC before any gas. Yeah.
We'll see how the transition here for stats is, because he just goes straight into a robo here pretty quickly. I'm expecting to see a forge added actually as well with this. Because usually, if you get a robotics tech, you get something else with that. You go robotics with, you know, blink pressure. Or you get robotics with...
Oh, I love this scan. He sees how early the robo is. He's like, oh, okay. No pressure early. I know exactly what's going on here. I can take my time.
Yeah. You think we see one forge here? Oh, he's actually just going to go straight into a bay. Really did not expect that against Innovation's playstyle.
Yeah,
Maybe he's worried about a quick SCV pull, like really fast. Maybe, wants to make sure he gets his Colossi out, rush those out, because you can skip units early on in this map at cross spawns because you know the marine pressure that moves across the map to force out that overcharge. You're probably not going to see that. It takes way too long to get across the map, so you can skip your Stalkers, you get your Bay out faster, your Colossi out faster, worry about your gateway units later. When your probe count is higher, you power up those gateways, but then you have that AoE damage set already in case he's going to do some sort of SCV pull. Maybe that's the thought process here.
Yeah, I believe that's it's a very safe thought process. I completely understand what he would do with that. And I mean, very rarely these days we see upgrades from the Protoss that early. They'd rather get their tech out, they'd rather get observers out, and get to their Colossi so they can secure that third base. Because there's no way they're going to secure that third base early on with just upgrades. And here we go. Colossus range already upgraded, or upgrading.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to see a very early third base, I think. And I mean, even earlier third base from Innovation.
Yeah, he's already confident enough to move it out there. He sent his SCV around, was checking around, feels very comfortable here. With that scout on the Robo, he's got to know, okay, well, no, I got to probably not worry about any sort of oracles. Obviously, DTs would have hit by now if he was doing some weird build like that again. And stats, man, he could actually, I mean, with this super quick range, could go for like a 2 Colossus range attack or something. I don't think he will, but...
He could, but I mean, it's cross-map. But we already see a pylon down in a very interesting position here.
Yeah, and he saw the third base floating. I think he might actually just walk across with those Colossi.
It looks like
Look at that rally.
Wow.
This is, you know, a great way to
actually,
pressure as you expand.
Yeah, okay, so it's going to be a pressure, sort of like applied pressure where while he has the tech advantage, while he has the Colossi range, he can essentially deny this third base and force Terran to take the other pocket sort of third base, which I think is a lot safer to take because Colossus range will dominate this with pretty much no answer until a lot of Vikings are out.
He can actually use the Colossus range plus the Stalkers even on the low ground to fight against anything that's nearby, including the SCVs.
Yeah. So here we go. I mean, for all Innovation knows, this is a 2-base all-in. So he has to be very, very careful here.
Let's see how if he wants to hold his ground here.
Yeah, I mean, all the bio finally coming down here. Stim is done, so he has to be careful with this Colossi. I mean, this could be an overcommittal as well. We did see what Marine King did to 2 Colossi, but when there's only 1 in the army, this is the same kind of army that Marine King was using as well.
Warp Prism is on the way as well down the map, so he can actually start to harass here with his Colossi and drop it in the main. He's got some sentries with a lot of force field energy as well as observers highlighting here.
I'm liking this a lot, but he can't overcommit. He's got to be very careful because there will be, at one point, a Stim run-in like this. Nice force fields.
And a good lift here on the CC. He's able to protect it, but he's losing a lot of mining time. He's losing a lot of SCVs as well. 5 kill in total.
Yeah. Warp Prism is actually going to be so useful in this sort of situation as well. Splitting the Terran army in half or apart at this kind of time is going to make defending this third base even harder. And I'm sure Innovation is kind of kicking himself for not actually getting rid of that those rocks and taking it in the sort of like the safer sort of third base here.
Yeah. Nice little move here, just swiping away at those SCVs. And here comes that triple Zealot drop in the main base. Stats is picking them apart.
Innovation is on the map while this is happening as well.
He just wants to move across. He's like, look at his army supply, 81 to 54. He knows he has a huge lead. And those Colossi are lagging behind. Here we go. Jumping in right on those. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, and oh no, now there's no AoE damage on the map. Eventually this drop is going to get cleaned up. Now Innovation has double the army supply, and like you said, maybe stats, you know, maybe he overstayed his welcome. Maybe he pushed a bit too deep.
Yeah, he pushed way too deep, and I think it was a big mistake using that Guardian Shield as well. I mean, you could have had another force field for that at the very least. And now, we see only gateway units against a huge Bioforce.
Yep, this Bioforce having +1 attack as well, and he's just forcing his way through this. He needs to make sure he himself does not stay too late, though. To wait for some reinforcements, allow those medevacs to heal up this army, because that Nexus is getting a lot of damage done here. I think it's best to just sit back for a minute.
Just a minute. Regain his forces. More coming across the map here. And, I mean, look at the supply count. We have a 30 supply lead for Innovation at this point already, simply because those Colossi just went down for nothing.
Yeah, totally free. And back at home, he's still got a worker lead as well, plus the triple mules. Don't forget, his economy's in a great position.
Only 2 Vikings with this army, though, which is going to be have a big part to play, even against 1 Colossi. It's going to be a bit of a problem for Innovation if he wants to try and break in.
Armor finishing up for both these players at the same time, and we're going to still have that same upgrade, 1-1 versus 1-1. My fear is that now he's used all of his Mothership Core energy, and this Terran army is going to keep poking. That, you know, Nexus hasn't regened all of its shields, but he needs to make sure he gets all of his units fanned out really nicely, because if the Terran gets a better concave and starts chipping away at that Nexus, that's a very, very scary place to be as a Protoss.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm actually really worried about Innovation's army, though, because he does only have a few Vikings, so he cannot actually fight this head-on until he has more. I think we could actually see an SCV pull with this as well. You
know, yeah, I'm thinking, like, he's starting to realize that, oh god, those medevacs! Okay, everything works out okay.
Wow, he's actually committing to this, which is very, very impressive.
I did not expect this. He's going to actually want to pick up and leave pretty soon. He's going to try to fight these Colossi, but this is a huge commitment. I don't know how much I actually like this.
Yeah, I didn't know if I like that at all.
Meanwhile, he's attacking down here, though, and he's got these Vikings in position where they can maybe pick off that Colossus that's weakened from earlier. Oh, he's having to micro too many things at once. This is just, even for a player like Innovation, impossible.
Yeah,
he's taking a bad trade every which way you want to look at it.
Lost all his Vikings. Vikings have been reset. Only 2 left now. He doesn't really have enough bio. The supply count is shortened a great deal.
He's keeping on with the push, though. Trying to get that Colossus pretty low. Does go down. And the second one is going to survive. He needs to just pick up and get out of here.
Yeah, he's kind of tunnel visioning at this point. He needs to actually get out of here.
I mean, he's still ahead in supply, but he could have made this work a lot better for himself.
Oh, I like this.
Goodbye, 4th base. Probably going to have to cancel that. Don't think he's going to be able to save it. We'll see.
No? Maybe not now.
Well, let's see how much damage these 2 Zealots get. They better get a lot to make it worth not getting that canceled.
Yeah. Doesn't look like they're going to get much done either. So, big overcommittal from Innovation. He still has quite an impressive lead here. But we do see Templar on the map now, and more Colossi being made. Charge being upgraded. So, I mean, Stats is going to stabilize here. And he's going to go he's going to go into the late game, so long as he continues to defend pretty well.
Hey, don't be fooled by that army supply at the top right, because the army of Stats is much better with the Storm. And, you know, the upgrades, though, I'm a bit concerned, because it's about to be 2-2 versus 2-1, because the second Forge hasn't completed yet.
Yeah, that is actually a big problem here.
And as you can see, Vikings are looking for any Warp Prism they can find. I think that this is definitely a good position for Innovation, but Stats has a lot of little advantages, and Innovation is going to have to take those into account. He's going to have to use really good Ghost Micro like we saw in Game 1, you know, making sure they're at the front, where they can get those key snipes, where they can get those key EMPs.
That's only 1-1 upgrades for Stats, by the way.
Oh, you're right. I thought he got the second armor, in fact.
So he's pretty considerably behind at this point.
Yeah, wow. I did not realize that. I thought he had the second armor. Whoa.
And, I mean, Innovation does have a 40 supply lead. So Innovation still has a great window of opportunity to do like a massive attack. 4th base going up for Stats, though, so his window is getting smaller and smaller here. If Protoss is up on 4 base comfortably for at least a little while, Stats should come into this game in a big way.
I want to see that unit tab. I want to see how many ghosts we've got on the map. I think he's got at least 1 set. 4 ghosts out in this army. I can see him with my eyes. 9 ghosts in total, so a lot more coming down.
Yep.
And even 2 more here, so we got 6 with this army. They're going to need to hit some clutch EMPs. Also, the Vikings, he's got plenty enough to deal with that super low Colossus count of 1 Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
Needs to knock that out of the sky right away. All right, pre-splitting here. And here come those EMPs. Cannon being finished here as well, just to help out. He's got another cannon on the high ground. Innovation does not want to overcommit to this.
Oh, nice snipes.
And an EMP goes down as well. Looks like he's considering committing to this. Remember, he still has that upgrade lead.
Yep, 2 more Colossi from the left side here. Great Storms zoning out Innovation.
Even sniping some Zealots here as they try to retreat. And Innovation in a great spot. He didn't rally his reinforcements, though, so a few more Colossi coming, like you said. This is going to be too much. I think he has to leave.
Yeah, I think he might have to.
But the upgrades, though, they're going to buy him some time. He's going to get a nice trade, but he definitely has to leave, right?
Yeah, he has to get out of here. He still has a huge supply lead. Actually,
maybe not, man. Those upgrades, what? And here comes a huge wave of reinforcements. That Mothership Core could have time warped, could have done so much for Stats. But again, just like Game 1, he was not babysitting it. It was not with his army.
Very weirdly out of position here, and I think we might actually see Innovation just close this out unless we see another great
Those
storm.
2 High Templar are out of position as well. He can't utilize them. They've got so many storms stacked up, but they're not usable here.
Yeah, and he's going to go for the 3rd base now, and I mean, what can Stats do at this point? He's down 50 supply. He does have decent, I guess, decent tech. He does have the AoEs. 2 more Colossi just came out. He has some storms, but the upgrade disadvantage is playing a huge role in this.
Yep. All right.
And a big drop here, which I do not agree with at this point. I mean, it can work, but it doesn't have to do it.
No, he's just going to smack these Colossi down so hard.
Get picked off again. I mean, this is the name of the game when it comes to Stats. He keeps losing his Colossi to Bio here.
Yep, loses it.
Oh, and he's going to get out alive with 2 of them.
Yep, and look at how much damage is being done over here. The storm goes down. It's pretty nice. In fact, 2 storms here. It's actually going to be able to maybe defend this. The Viking land wouldn't even be a bad choice right now. But it's just too much bio, too much healing.
Yeah, the parade push across the map. One of Innovation's signatures, especially against Zerg. Doing it against Protoss here, and I mean, he is in complete control of this game.
He's won it, man.
100 supply. There is no losing this game. I agree.
And, I mean, it's now 4 base with an extra orbital against 3, perhaps soon to be 2, as this next wave comes in. Storms aren't even an issue for him right now. He has no ghosts, so that might be something he wants to consider.
That's a lot of Storms. But, I mean, he can wipe out this army. Innovation will still be in complete control. There is simply no way Stats can get back into this game. No matter how perfect these Storms are, he's simply behind in supply. It's simple numbers at this point, ladies and gentlemen.
GG. Innovation takes 2-0s. We got nothing but 2-0s today.
Nothing but 2-0s. Making up for that huge downtime.
Sure.
A very impressive play from Innovation, and he remains in this tournament.
Got a feel for Stats. Had a really rough day today. You know, and honestly, he's had the most time to sit back and prepare because he hasn't been traveling like a lot of these other players have.
Yeah.
But still, you know, he definitely showed the weakest performance today. Falls out in last place. Innovation will live to fight another day. Hopefully for him, I think he's thinking he probably wants to avoid Marine King.
I think he does, but at the same time,
Hero already beat him before.
Hero beat him 2-0 very convincingly, so I don't know what he's going to do. Probably wants to try his luck against Marine King if that happens. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, you know, the cool thing for Innovation is he's probably having to think of, oh God, who would I want to face more? Luckily for him, he doesn't get to make the choice.
Yeah, that's always a good thing, right? I mean, like, at the very least, he gets to see Hero's TVP again, PVT. So maybe he's like, okay, so this is what he's doing. He's still doing this. Maybe he finds a way to deal with it this time.
Sure.
We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Marine King will just beat Hero, and then
who knows, man.
Then Innovation's going to be pretty sad.
Well, before we go on that winner's match with Marine King versus Hero, spread the word on that. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be right back.